Okay, has this ever happened to you? You're throwing a barbecue or getting your groceries and you get to the meat section and you start finding 100% organic or grass finished, no antibiotics, pasture raised, non GMO. Dude, I just want to get some steak. Oh, that's me by the way. I'm Rafael. I'm from Brazil, and other than soccer and carnival, you probably know my country for one other thing.
Chicken mouth, flambada.
And I definitely fit the stereotype. But I know how to grill meat, not how to study it. Luckily, I know someone that does.
I'm Nicole cut1. I'm about to graduate as a nutritionist at the Energetic Health and Wellness Institute.
Nicole and I have been friends for a long time, and since she's graduating as a nutritionist, she is the perfect person to answer my questions. But am I the only one that's fuzzy on those subjects? To check that, I decided to just go to Venice Beach and stop some strangers in the street.
What would you say it means when you read that a beef is organic?
I'd say if it's organic, that means that it's natural. It's not fed hormones.
From a place that was locally sourced, that was fresh and didn't have any pesticides and things like that.
The cows that, or whatever animal the meat comes from, has not been given antibiotics or given growth hormones, things like that.
I really don't know what makes a beef thing organic or not.
It means that it's produced from a place where there's no chemicals involved and there's no corporations manipulating the meat.
Well, according to the USDA Organic Program, one of the most confusing websites I've ever visited, by the way, organic is defined as a program that responds to site-specific conditions by integrating the... Oh my god, I'm sleeping already, Nicole. Can you just give me a checklist, please?
When it's organic, it means that they have to have a certain amount of space to roam. They have to be grass-fed for at least 120 days. It has to be all organic materials, and there's like a long list of prohibited things for organic meat.
And she's not joking. The document with the list of requirements is over 20 pages long. But oversimplifying it, to raise organic meat means that the cows need access to outdoors for at least 120 days. Their diet needs to be 100% made out of organic grass, which has its own set of rules. It means that the use of medication is only for specific cases for individual cows that get sick. And a bunch of other simpler stuff like access to fresh air and clean water, sunlight. The one interesting thing I noted is that in nowhere in their website does the USDA make claims about organic being better for you. The document listing the requirements even notes that the program's objectives are simply environmental and for the animal welfare. So, sorry participant number 3, although growth hormones are a big no-no, it is entirely possible that the cow you're buying got sick in some point of their lives. And in that case, the farmer would absolutely be able to give antibiotics and still sell the meat as organic. And sorry participant number 5, there are a lot of requirements, but not being a corporation, dude, is not one of them. Now, we did ask our pass-bys about all the other terms, and there were a lot of good stuff. Especially that dude. Trust me, we could do a whole conspiracy doc just with his answers, but you know, maybe next semester. Actually, most of them admitted to never have actually seriously thought about those terms, having no idea about the meaning of at least one of them. At the end, between talking to Nicole and doing my own research, organic seems to be more of an umbrella term that involves a lot of these other names we see in packages. So if a package says organic and a bunch of other stuff, they're basically repeating themselves to look healthier. But we did see in the USDA website that the whole organic thing is for the environment and for the animal's sake. So does any of this means anything to us as a consumer? Well, maybe one of them, grass-fed. And to understand the why, I'll let Nicole take it away.
Eating grass-fed meat matters because that's what they're naturally meant to eat. Their stomachs are built to eat grass, so their stomachs can break down the nutrients of grass in ways that human stomachs can't. That's why we get benefits from eating meat. The calories in conventional meat and the calories in organic meat is exactly the same. The nutrient density in organic meat versus conventional meat is different. When your body does not receive the amount of nutrients that it needs, that's when you crave more food. And that is what's going to make you eat more. And because the calories are the same and you're building more on top of that, you're going to gain weight. You're going to be consuming more calories because your body is going to be craving more nutrients.
Finally, something I can actually test on myself. So Nicole took me to go get some organic cuts. We bought a few options so I could also compare taste. and a full bag of green beans. The plan is to only have one full meal a day composed of 4 to 6 ounce cut of meat and 70 grams of green beans. And dude, that was not a cheap plan. So I got to eating. Day 1. Through the first week, I made sure to write down the amounts and times of my meals so I could replicate them during the second week. And after 7 days, I had my first set of data. Okay, that was the end of the first week. The only notes I had was that I was actually really surprised on how little I was able to eat and not get hungry for a long period of time. I never ate so little meat and stayed actually satisfied for 3 hours, which is normally when I start getting hungry again. It's been 7 days of just eating all sorts of steaks, and I honestly, I can't master the will to eat any more red meat, and that's a sentence I thought I would never say. So I'm gonna take a couple of days and I'm gonna go, I don't know, get some sushi. And here we are back at the start. After a couple of days of my usual diet, I went to the supermarket and got the same cuts from last week from the cheapest brands I could find. Although it was still not cheap, the packages were way larger than the first ones, which made the price per pound much, much smaller. Following my notes from the first week, I got to eating the same portions at the same times as I did with the organic counterparts. Now, this might be the point to note that I'm no scientist, and all of this is in no way meant to be health advice for anyone. I'm doing this for my own personal growth and wanted to share my experience. If watching this makes you curious about all of this, great, do your own research. If not, also great. Now, with that said, after all of this, here are my conclusions. There's no difference.
Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum.
Regardless of what cut I was eating, I still got hungry after 3.5 hours. I felt no difference in my weight whatsoever. I didn't feel especially hungry in one week or another. If anything, it just showed me that I have a very established eating pattern already. I get hungry after 3 hours, regardless of what I eat. One thing that I did learn is that we don't need to eat nearly as much meat as we think we did. I did eat very small portions compared to what I normally have on a restaurant or cooking for myself, and I realized that, I was still feeling satisfied. So I'm definitely cutting down on the amount of meat I eat. However, there's still the two main arguments in favor of organic food, which is the environmental and the welfare of the animal. Personally, those are concerns that made me rethink my consumption of meat, and I decided for my own life that I will make the change to organic meat on a regular basis, which doesn't get that expensive since I'm eating less than what I used to eat before. Now, if you're doing a barbecue or you need to buy a huge amount of meat, I would say just go with your USDA approved. There are still a bunch of prerequisites for just those normal cuts, and they're still gonna be good quality regardless of how cheap you can find them.